What is going on, everyone? Parsnip here, and with the recent news of Lost Ark's delay, what can Amazon Games and Smilegates do to improve the overall situation? I know a lot of us are pretty upset by the delay, but there's no use in crying over spilled milk. In fact, this delay can be used to our advantage, and here are a couple of things that I honestly think will improve the overall experience we have once the game is released. Starting off with communication. So we all know it's what they promised, but getting actual answers and updates from them is very lacking, especially if we compare it to, say, New Worlds. Now, there is talk on a official Discord being made by Amazon Games for Lost Ark, but it's also very important to communicate through other means by not using just PR replies, the same old replies we've been getting every 1 or 2 weeks, the same old stuff. That's not what we as a community want. Now, if we look at another game that I'm following that's called Palia, they do a much better job as far as communication goes. So they do have their own Discord where they do take questions and actually answer them. They also do a couple of other things that interacts with the community. For example, they do show game art and they talk about themselves. The devs, they have a page where they talk about themselves, what they do, their hobbies. They even go as far as talking about the NPCs in the game. For example, they will show a picture with 5 blacked out NPCs that you, the player, can vote for, and the NPC that wins gets showed, right? They show the picture of it, they talk about it, they talk about their names, the characteristics, what they do, and so on. And though it seems small, they are constantly talking to us, the players, and that makes the community feel close and respected. Now, Amazon doesn't need to go as far as trying to show the characters, the NPCs from Lost Ark, but they can talk to us and show the respect that we, the community, deserve, right? We're the client, we're the ones that are paying, and a little goes a long way. Even if they decide we're going to talk about what we're doing, who we are, what the plans are, and they can put a disclaimer that the plans may not go as planned, but here's this, that, and whatnot. Now, next up, we can talk about marketing. So with the delay bringing us to 2022, Amazon Games has the opportunity to market the game to a much wilder audience. It's no surprise that right now, very few people even know about Lost Ark besides us who are actually following it, who already played it. But with New Worlds already being released, they can finally put some effort into the marketing. And this goes from trailers to advertising to anything. We really could use the treatment that New Worlds got for their release. You go anywhere, if you're an MMO player, if you do MMO research and you have MMO related content in your cookies that you checked before, you eventually see advertisements for New World, right? So I see it all the time. I see it on YouTube. I get recommended New World videos, their trailers. We saw them at Gamescom, and we can really use that treatment for Lost Ark, because no matter how good a game is, if there are few people playing it, especially in MMO, it will eventually die. Trying to queue up for PvP and it taking 20-30 minutes to find a match, trying to do a raid and not finding a group, things like that is very important for an MMO. So players are a means to success for the game. So it's important that they do market it better, and they do have the time now. Next up, we can go ahead and talk about the beta. So with the delayed announcement, we also got the beta dates, which is from November 4th, a Thursday, to November 9th. And here's the thing, why is the beta so short? Now, I have read and done a lot of research about this and got a couple of other opinions. And the main two is that we can have either more betas. For example, they can keep it from November 4th to the 9th, but have maybe another one in January, right? A beta that is closer to the release date, since the game is so far away from November. If it gets released on the planned date on Steam, which is at the end of March, and they have it at the beginning of November, we're talking November, December, January, for 4 months away from the release date, which is huge. So ideally, if they do keep this release date in only 5 days, they do decide to add another beta later on. Now, the other opinion that I got was that the beta can be longer. Now, I don't think it should be a month-long beta or anything like that. I don't want people burning out or losing that magic feeling that you get when you actually play the game for the first time, for the first couple of weeks, right? So they can probably put the beta for 2 weeks instead of November 4th to the 9th. They could go from November 4th to the 16th or the 15th or whatever date they want, as long as it's a bit longer. Because for newer players, it will actually be hard to get to the in-game content, right? From November 4th to November 9th, half of the days are weekdays. So people will be having school at that time. People will be going to work. So the majority of the players will actually only be able to do the quests, right? They're going to barely reach level 50 if they do reach level 50 at all. And the game changes a lot upon level 50. So it would be great to have at least 2 weeks. And lastly, there are some more unrealistic things that they can do, but I highly doubt it. And the main one being the release of another class or two. Since we are so far away from the planned release, right? It's 7 months as of today. They can definitely add another class to the roster, especially since by the time our version comes out, we most likely will have another class, a teaser, or a release in Korea. Now, they can add one of the basic classes that were released in all the other versions, like the Arcontist or the Destroyer, or they can add one of the first classes. It doesn't have to be necessarily the Sorceress, the newest class, but something like the Lance Master. And this would definitely appease a lot of players. As we do know, a lot of players will just be playing around with a class until their main class is released. And a good portion of players will most likely want to play something like the Lance Master, right? So that's one way they can appease to us, that they can make the delay worth it a little bit more, if you know what I mean, right? Now, it would also be nice if they added more content. Now, we don't actually know what's going to happen, what's going to come out, if they're going to add more things or not. But if they do decide that the delay is because of bringing newer, better content from Korea, the least they can do is tell us what content that is, what exactly will we be having, or what the plans are, right? They can add a simplified roadmap of the content and things that they plan to introduce to the game. And that way we know, right? We know that by them adding actual content, that they're going to be adding a new raid, a new tier, a new boss, something like that, that they will have to squash bugs, right? They will have to talk to Smilegates. They will be working on something, and that will make it feel like they're not leaving our game to the side just because of New Worlds. And I think this also has to do with communication, because if they truly are squashing bugs like they say they are, that they are adding content from Korea, updates, things like that, if they showed us what they were adding, right, and they make plans, they talk to us, it will be super beneficial for everyone. They wouldn't be getting the backlash that they were now if they say, all right, guys, because of the raid that we're trying to add, we've noticed a lot of groundbreaking bugs, right? Players falling through the dungeon, items being lost, things like that. And for your experience, for everybody's benefit, we will be delaying the game to make sure this is 100% working. It doesn't take a lot to satisfy a community. Now, ideally, they could be more honest with us. They could stop giving these PR statements and actually talk about the things that we want to hear. And that's pretty much it. Of course, other things could be done, like polishing the founder's mount a bit more. We got a lot of complaints. I've seen a lot of you guys talk about how the mounts are pretty shabby, especially if we compare it to a place like Japan. Now, I do believe that a little goes a long way. If they do even half of what I listed, honestly speaking, I don't think they're going to do everything. It would be amazing, but I doubt it. I personally would be a lot more satisfied. I know a lot of other players would also be more satisfied, especially communicating with us, being honest with us, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. I do hope that Amazon Games does get their shit together. They do actually talk to us. They do some of the changes that I think they can easily do, especially marketing and communication. Those are the main ones. And yeah, what do you guys think? And as always, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.